Now that I'm in, like, my neat freak era, I look at my PC every time I record, and I realize I need to dust it so bad, because now I have a glass case, or not a glass case, a glass panel, so I can see the innards of it, but, like, I never had that on my previous PC. As a matter of fact, I didn't even need to dust my previous PC, because air was not getting in that thing, like, period. So if any of you guys have any good YouTube tutorials on how to dust your PC, could you guys, like, send those to me on Twitter or Instagram? This isn't me asking you to follow me. I don't think you have to follow me to message me on either of those. Just at me or something, please. Anyways, allow me to set the stage for you. So, in 2019, my middle school took a Washington, D.C. trip. The capital, not the state. But I don't remember whether it was a new thing they were doing or whether we were in the first batches of kids, but there was a lot of pressure on us to behave accordingly, and you tell that to a bunch of 14-year-old boys, specifically, I guess, my group of 14-year-old boys. Now, let me specify further, I do not own a group of 14-year-old boys, but my friend group at the time, we heard this and we were like, oh. And I was looking up, like, YouTube videos about Washington, D.C., and this was actually, funnily enough, when I found out about who Nuda was through his Washington, D.C. videos. I was like, I don't think I want to be, like, that much of an asshole, but it'd be cool to have some fun. This actually kind of has nothing to do with that. I don't know why. But I had been given this phone, like, right before the D.C. trip. It was my sister's old one. It was a track phone with this, like, limited data plan. It was, like, 2 gigabytes of data and, like, X number of minutes a month for the year or something like that. My sister ran through 23 gigabytes of data in, like, 4 months before passing the phone on to me, because she ended up getting a different phone. And all the minutes were still there because she was, like, only using Snapchat. And so little me, unbeknownst to this, was like, oh, I've still got my 2 gigabytes for the month, and I wasted it all on the trip up there listening to music. And so nothing was loading, and I was like, this isn't ideal. I've never had a phone before. Did I fuck something up? And my friend informed me, because, you know, everyone except for me had a phone in middle school. I don't support middle schoolers having phones, but it just was convenient that everyone else had one. They were like, yeah, no, you ran out of data. Like, you're kind of fucked. You got to use Wi-Fi from now on. I was like, well, fuck. There's no Wi-Fi in the middle of nowhere. I was upset, and I wanted to listen to music. So when we got to the hotel, I started downloading music illegally. I was pirating that bitch. I'm sorry. And let me preface before I continue. Never pirate music. I was a desperate, uneducated little fella back in the day. Pirating music is so bad and so hurtful to the artist. You think you're supporting them by listening to your music, but they need the money from you streaming their stuff or buying their stuff. Please stream their music on streaming platforms or listen to it on the radio or something. Don't illegally download music like I did. That was stupid in hindsight. And you gotta think, this is like the peak internet money. Like, Juice WRLD had just started popping off. I think this was literally 2 months after Death Race for Love released, and I was into that kind of scene, that, like, promoting sounds, Perfect Plug, like, just underground, like Comethazine, Warhols, Juice WRLD when he was coming up, X, Six Dogs, people like that. Now, granted, not many of them that I mentioned were underground at that point, but the 2 songs I went to download were You Won't Do Shit by Convolk and Hot Shot Block by Goyard Park. If you've never heard either of those songs, fuck you. Click off the video. Fuck all of you. But anywho, I was a simple man. I only needed those 2 songs for, like, the 10-hour bus ride back to the home state. And so while we were at the hotel, I downloaded those songs. And I don't know if you guys know this. Anyone who's ever used a YouTube video downloader or a audio downloader, sometimes a random ad page will pop up. And it won't load all the way, but you know to click out of it because it's probably a scam. Guess who didn't know that? I let that page sit open the whole time I was downloading it, assumptive that it was part of the downloading process. And I didn't think much of it. We're about halfway through the ride home at this point, and just randomly apps will start closing, or it'll open, like, the screen where you kind of hit on a Samsung, it's like the 3 lines or the square, and it'll show all the tabs and you can swipe up to close them. It was showing that screen, and it would just start closing random tabs, or it would open Google randomly, and I was like, that's weird. Do I have water in my screen? I didn't have a screen protector. That was my immediate thought. Not that the Davy Jones of internet pirates had taken over my phone. I didn't think much of it, and I didn't have any data, so none of these things were loading. It was just opening random websites that I couldn't even see. Well, about halfway through this drive, we stop at a Burger King to get lunch. And in the parking lot, pulling out as we were pulling in, was this, like, Kia Soul with, like, pink zebra wrap on it. And it had, like, an Instagram handle on the back of it. And we were all like, oh, what the fuck? And so we're all, like, taking pictures of it. Kids are, like, Snapchatting videos of it because they think it looks fucking ugly. And they're right. Like, but my teacher's like, oh, I didn't get a good picture of it. And I was just like, oh, I think I got a good picture of the Instagram handle if you wanted that. And she was like, that's great. Show me when we get inside of Burger King. Little fun fact about Mr. King, though. Complimentary to every guest that enter his kingdom is free Wi-Fi. So guess what started loading? every single porn website that virus was opening. Every single one. And so we're in this Burger King and I'm scrolling through my gallery, showing my teacher, a female teacher, by the way, in her 40s, who knows my father well and has taught my sister before. Scrolling through these images, all of a sudden, it just switches over to Google. One of the tabs was already there. It didn't even need to open a new one. It just switches over to Google. And it is just this like anime bitch in a witch hat getting absolutely railed by the largest, most suction cup filled octopus tentacle you've ever fucking seen in your life. And my teacher's got her Instagram out on her phone and she's getting ready to type it. She looks over at the screen and just sees this woman getting railed by a fucking sea creature. Oh, I was so fucking embarrassed. I was like, I had to explain to this woman, hey, I'm not addicted to porn. I've actually got a huge piracy problem, and I illegally downloaded music and got a virus. And she was like, you need to get to the bottom of that, buddy. And I know a good bit about technology, but considering I never had a phone up until middle high school, I didn't know much about phones. And all of my friends, keep in mind, they had phones. They were literal dumbasses, so they were no help. So I walk outside of this Burger King in the middle of fucking nowhere, and I call my dad on the track phone, and he's up, and he's like, are you okay? Like, what, you know, basic dad shit when you call at a random time. I'm not even able to, like, pick up a sentence and start it, because I'm just bawling my eyes out, because now my history teacher thinks I like tentacle woman shish kebabs, and I'm fucking like just crying, and I'm like, Dad, something's wrong with the phone. And he's like, oh, did you drop it? Is it cracked? Is it what's wrong with it? And I'm like, there's MILFs on it telling me that they're 5 miles from my location. I don't even know my own location right now. And I think he's refraining from, like, laughing at me. I can see my friends inside of this Burger King laughing at me. I have yet to even touch base with my father about the tentacle porn problem that's also on my phone. But he's like, it sounds like you got a virus. We'll worry about it when you get home. So I just, like, don't touch my phone for the rest of the ride. I'm, like, sharing an earbud with my friend listening to his shitty-ass music. And I get home. He takes a look at it. Nothing fucking happens while he's touching the phone. He gives it back to me, and it just keeps fucking happening. And it happens for like 2 days, and then the virus just goes away on its own. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know if there was like track phone antivirus or something or other, but the virus just vanished after the most embarrassing part of it was behind me.